All right, another choppy day in the SPY. You can see that it had a little more range than yesterday, but closed pretty much where it opened. So we're still kind of chopping around near all-time highs. My watch list for tomorrow. Double check. Okay, that'll be Thursday, August 17th. Huge volume on IDXG today. I just want to watch that for a continuation of this big move. Pretty crowded, but I think it's worth watching. PLNT, I actually called today in the chat room an intraday cup and handle. We already had this on Bounce Watch because it looked like this. I said it had come down to the buy zone after a breakout, lower volume on the pullback. So I wanted to watch it, and we did get a nice bounce, and I'll show you the setup. Really clean setup intraday. All right, this is the morning. This is the opening 5-minute candle. You had a little intraday cup and handle. My idea was just a high of day break, right? Which was 2407. If it breaks this handle, worst case stop below 24. It doesn't get much better than that. It ended up going almost to 2470 on like 8 cents risks. And it's a pretty decent little setup there. And we don't know when we put something on Bounce Watch how it's going to set up, if it's going to set up. But this was a pretty good example right here of a nice setup, very low risk. It goes back on watch for tomorrow because it closed pretty strong, and it's kind of, we had an intraday cup and handle today, but you kind of have a daily cup and handle, and it's starting its way back up too, so it's worth watching again tomorrow. XNET, this one's a little bit loose. If you're a trader, you kind of know what I mean by loose, but it's getting nice volume lately, and it opened, sold off, and ended up closing pretty darn strong. Here it is on 15s. So it is interesting. Like I said, it's a little bit loose, but we'll keep our eyes on it. JRJC, nice breakout today on high relative volume. I'll be looking for like a red to green or something, a continuation play tomorrow if it sets up. Snap had the engulfing candle here, then it gapped up a bit and closed red, and it's a green day again already. So this thing is, but it probably starting to look decent on the weekly chart. Yeah, nice big fat green weekly candle, which you don't see too many of those. I think this is definitely worth watching. Today's high was 1325. Yesterday's high was 1330. So over today's high, over 1325, it could break through this and maybe get up into this gap right here. All right, maybe head up to the 20-day, right? So this is worth watching. It's a pretty good setup. XPLR, pretty thin stock. Yesterday went from a low of 234 all the way to 338. Then today, quietly, on much less volume, an inside day, but closing strong. Let's keep our eyes on that one. We might get one of those low float runners tomorrow. CNDT had this nice push here through 17. It's been flagging for a few days, and now you've got a pretty clear high of 1716 here, 1716 here. So up over this 5-day high, might continue to break up higher. GoPro on Bounce Watch. You had the nice gap up on volume, and now we always call this the buy zone between the blue and red line, which is for me is the 8-day and the 20-day moving average. When you get down into this zone, especially after a strong move, I look for a bounce. So GoPro goes on Bounce Watch for tomorrow. CBI, man, okay, this thing gapped down, got decimated, a little bit of a bear flag, and then headed lower again. It's actually in single digits now. Just going back to, say, February, it was 36 bucks. This is definitely, especially like some infrastructure news comes out of the White House. This is an infrastructure play, so this is definitely one to watch. At some point, I think value players will step in and we could get a nice bounce in this one. XXII, nothing going on today in it. We had it on watch and no trades in it today, but it's still kind of hanging out in this area. If it can break out over the 2-day high, this one might get going again. And lastly, SGMO had a really nice run here, and now a couple days lower on lower volume. Maybe this one turns back up tomorrow. It should be on watch tomorrow and the next day if it doesn't. I'm going to leave it at that. We'll add gappers to the list in the pre-market, and hopefully some of these will pay off for us nicely tomorrow. All right, have a good night.